Good afternoon. This is Bob from Trade Genius for Next News Network. It's the 26th of July. And what I want to report on today is something that's pretty sad, pretty sobering, and it's going to affect us all for two reasons. One is the immediate effect, and number two is what it's portending for the rest of the world. Right now in China, they're having their worst flooding in over 20 years. And by the time this is over, it'll be the worst economic weather-related disaster ever. They've already tallied up $22 billion in costs, and the Chinese are notorious for underestimating bad news. So when this is done, I can easily see it double that price. And the other thing too is there's hundreds of people that are dead, thousands are missing, and millions of livestock dead, primarily pork, pigs and pork. And that's what these people live off of. 50% of their row crops in the Yangtze Valley is gone. And so, China is pretty lucky that there's a worldwide supply chain, or they'd have another famine on their hands. The two biggest corn regions of China right now are underwater. They're getting rainfall like they've never seen. And this is primarily happens every year after an El Nino event, especially when we go into a strong La Nina event. And what that means for the rest of us is that, and we've been talking about this for a long time, is that as the grand solar minimums start to occur and the oceans get colder and we have a La Nina event, it causes the jet streams to undulate wildly. And that brings cold air in, it brings a lot more rain in. A lot of people get confused. They think that the global cooling is everything gets cold. Well, you do have really cold winters, but what you get is a lot of cool, wet summers where you don't want them. And it causes the crops to have episodes like we're seeing in China today, what we saw in Brazil. 2 weeks ago in Brazil in the tropics, 30% of their coffee plants have succumbed to frost. And so we're going to be paying for this because all our stockpiles that are keeping our food prices down, China's going to get on a buying spree so they can feed their population. It's going to drive the cost of food up. We've been waiting for this, and it's happening more and more. And this China flood thing is not over yet. And we still have probably 2 more or 3 more weeks of this rain. At the same time, our Midwest is starting to see reductions in yields from the optimistic forecast. And in France, they've gone from 10% down to 22% down to 50% down on their wheat harvest. And that just brings us to how the governments just never really tell you the truth. In China, a lot of people are dead because they couldn't report the news. It's illegal for you to report, original news without a government person okaying it. So people weren't out there saying, hey, get out of here. This flood is coming. And the officials have suppressed the news because they don't want to lose face. Well, now thousands of people have died, and now they have officials are starting to get suspended for dereliction of duty. When this thing's over, it's just going to be a mess. And I just really feel for the Chinese people. But get used to it. We're going to start seeing this more and more, and it's going to get worse and worse. In the short term, this week we talked about it's the Fed week. And tomorrow they're going to make their decision on interest rate increases. And so today went exactly as we expected. The market was up. We traded that way. Oil was down again, but it pushed back up some from its lows. I think it's trying to find a volume support area, and I think it will. In the next 2 weeks, the oil sell-off will be over, and we'll get some of these hurricane-related pushes up in natural gas and oil, and we'll trade those accordingly. Gold, we're going to find out tomorrow what gold will do. I think if they raise rates, it may push gold down initially, and then push it back up. If they don't raise rates, I think gold and the miners will go through the roof. And so we're just going to wait and see what happens tomorrow. And that's pretty much it for today. Have a great night. I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Bob from Trade Genius reporting for Next News Network. Bye-bye.